Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a GeekVerse review. I guess I'm still the pig in shit Travis Snail. Go check out our newscast to find out what that is, because it's a great day. And I'm joined by the one and only
Carl Taylor Field.
Carl Taylor Field. Oh boy, we got stuff to talk about. So, yeah, you would not guess it at all from the names of this, but luckily you probably jumped on the episode and clicked on it. We are about to review Smile. Now we got an early screening here in Kelowna, so as you know how it's going to work. If you're watching, actually no, the YouTube ones will be separated. There's going to be a non-spoilers because it still doesn't come out for a few days, so you get non-spoilers. We'll spoil nothing of it, and then on Friday the actual spoilers edition will come out. So if you've seen it, you can come check it out. So no worries that are non-spoilers. We're not going to give away anything that you don't already know or have seen about the movie and stuff like that. So Taylor, where can they find all this stuff? Because we got just a plethora of stuff dropping this week. When this drops, there's 3 episodes dropping: a Smile review, an Andor review, and a newscast. It's there's GV juice all over the place.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all the links are down below. Where to find us, where to talk to us, where to listen to us, watch us, the whole shebang. Now, most importantly, head over to Patreon. There's lots of stuff there. Exclusive episodes, ad-free episodes, early episodes, voting in polls, behind-the-scenes updates, things like that. Most importantly, though, you want to go to that Patreon producer tier because right now you get every single benefit, but you can go and get the deal for the next few days and jump on that Extra Life Lord of the Rings Geek First theme shirt. Proceeds of that go towards charity, and you also get every single benefit. You get to pick a movie to review, tons of good stuff, and you get some cool merch. So make sure you jump on that. And speaking of stuff, if you are looking for, if you want to be making other people smile, you want to be manscaping up your situation, that's why you want to go on manscaped.com and use the GVPOD and get 20%, or the podcast code GVPOD and get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. So, Taylor Field, what are your non-spoiler thoughts about Smile?
Yeah, so I saw trailers for this. I really didn't know what I was gonna think of it, and I went in honestly, I think with kind of relatively low expectations. I will say, like, it definitely made me jump a few times, and my wife added to one of those
Yes.
jumps. But I found myself kind of like laughing. And this is another thing too. I feel like you know what kind of movie you're getting into, and this isn't spoilers, when the beginning, like literally the first like pre-credits is rolling before the film, and it's silence, and you get that music cue. It's like
Are you talking about when it actually showed I think you're talking about the title card.
maybe it was not that. That was something else. Oh my god. Check for epilepsy or something like that. But like,
Yeah, there wasn't even like this is a. I don't even think this should be a spoiler. This should be something that should known. If you have episode like how they just showed the title card of Smile, I legitimately think you could be in danger. I'm not even making a joke. Like it was a lot for me, and it's loud noises, it's flashing, it's red, and I don't care if I'm spoiling this. It's the word Smile. It's little and it starts to get bigger and bigger, but it's flashing a lot. So I feel like there was in the rating or something, but as far as like before the movie started, nothing at all. And
yeah,
it
nothing.
it caught me off guard. I was worried for people if they did have it.
Yeah, it was that was something else. That was something else. But yeah, what I was referring to was when you see like what is the company? Is it Paramount? And it's like the stars go around. I think it's Paramount. Yeah,
I know
and
what
it
you're
does
talking
that.
about.
And it's like
Yeah,
and it's like, God, I'm seeing like a Insidious movie or something like that. Like just
like
it
right
has
off the
that
bat,
signature.
creepy music. But it's just like I'll say it's creepy music, but it's more just like I don't mean to be mean for whoever composed it, but I feel like generic creepy music, like stuff you've heard before. It's like, oh, I've seen this movie before. Here we
It
go.
really is. Like it is definitely generic. And then it's funny because there are even hues of like if you've listened to any of the new Chucky movies, the score in there has this like toy
If
theme that's
you've
horror
listened
vibe.
to any of the new Chucky
Yeah,
movies.
and this movie has that too in the score. Like it's something else. But I digress. So when we got this movie, I feel like yeah, I went in with low expectations, and coming out of the theater, to me it felt like I shouldn't compare it to, is making a comparison to other horror movies, is that spoiler, would you say?
I don't think so. I think if you're kind of comparing it as far as maybe thematically what it's kind of like, or even
Okay.
because I'm gonna do that in my non-spoilers. So
Okay. Well, I'd say it felt like The Ring meets Drag Me to Hell. That's my comparisons, I'd say. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
well, yeah, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. Well, I was gonna say though, did like you've talked about some things you didn't say if you liked it or not. That's what I don't know. Or do you not
Um,
know?
I don't know if I'd recommend someone to see this in the theater. I'll say that. I don't think I need to see it again. I can absolutely say it's not taken over like my number one spot for best horror of the year. Like I have that firmly associated to another horror movie. Go check out Barbarian in a review. But yeah, I think this did some things that I did enjoy, and the way they filmed certain things I really did like as well. But this isn't a spoiler. Again, turning the camera upside down is not like a new cinematic like take, and by any means,
They
like
do that a
it's
lot here,
they
and
do it
sometimes
a
I don't think it
lot.
was really for other than we're just gonna turn the camera upside down, because it's like not big spoiler. But I feel like there's one point where there's a car driving, they turn the camera upside down, and I thought they were gonna like make it look like the road was a smile, but they really didn't. It was just a road. I was like, oh. Okay, like, and I think it kind of curved, but like, if it was shot, it wasn't shot well enough to look like a smile, if that's what they're going for. So,
Well, I think maybe that's. I was kept thinking like, oh, is it like let's turn that frown upside down kind of like symbolism? I don't know. I guess
kind of, yeah.
I guess I will say like I don't. I personally don't have, as far as I know, like any mental kind of well, I won't say that's actually more spoilers. I can't get
Okay.
into that.
So, oh boy, I don't know where to start with this one. I think Taylor is right as far as The Ring and Drag Me Hell is a great comparison, and I try to be as nice as possible. But to me, this is like if it's those movies, but done very, 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 very poorly. I don't know for sure, but this might be my least favorite movie of the year. I hated being in that theater. Now I had a great time because Taylor Madison. This was before Taylor jumped, and I started joking around like, "What is this amateur hour?" Like I couldn't believe he jumped, and it was a huge jump. And Madison, did you get spilled? Because at one point there was a cup holder, had a cup there. Madison got so scared, her arm went flying, and she hit the cup out of the cup holder.
Oh yeah, that disconnected from planet Earth. It was in the air, and like thankfully it was empty. It was just ice cubes in there, but fuck, it scared the shit out of me. I don't even remember the scene. Like I knew something was coming, and I saw like a second.
I
of it, and
remember.
then
I'll tell you on
she
spoilers.
freaked out, and like, oh my god, yeah, I was recovering myself.
So I had a good time there. And I think, unfortunately, like I had a good time because there's just some stuff in this movie that's so outrageous, but it wasn't outrageous enough to be a so bad it's so good. You've seen this movie done hundreds of times. To me, this felt like when you go to Blockbuster and there's like a rent 4 movies for $10 and you have 3 great ones and you don't know this fourth one. It's like, sure, let's throw this in the pile. And it's some straight to DVD horror movie you've never heard of or seen. That's what this is to me. Now, I had hope because every time I saw the trailers and the concept, I thought, man, this movie's like a truth or dare. Like any of those like really early Blumhouse stuff where it's like, okay, they got a fun gimmick that can get some young people to go see it, but when you see the movie, there's not much there. Because the way of the marketing of like them dropping those little teasers and not dropping links on YouTube, and they waited really while to put this out here, I thought, okay, with the marketing being so smart, maybe there's a chance the movie is that. And it's not. It sucks because I actually think the protagonist, the actress, I'll find out her name because I swear I've seen her in something before. I think she does a good job acting wise. I think they just make her character so frustrating on every turn. She is just like what Scary Movie would like parody as far as like what you don't want a character to do. She does it at every single turn. There's one scene in the middle of this movie that just has to do with the birthday that was the turning point to me where I went, man, what the fuck am I watching right now? And not in a Midsummer Barbarian sort of way where it's like, oh, this is really great. It's just like, oh no. I felt embarrassed being in the theater. I did. Like I feel like these are the movies that give horror a bad rap. These are the movies that I hate to say this because I don't want to, and I'm like someone that we want to make movies and stuff. It just felt lazy. It just felt like people they watched a bunch of movies with a similar type of or It Follows is another good comparison too, where it's just like a movie where something is following characters. They watched them all and just put those scenes in the movie, but they look a little different when new actors. It feels like it's a remake of a movie, but it's not. Yeah, I was not a fan of this. Not a fan of the main character's decisions. I felt that every turn you knew what was going to happen. Midway through, I knew the exact ending of the movie. It's just like you're waiting for it to throw some sort of curveball, and it never does. And to me, what is the most egregious, what I absolutely disdain about most, but to me, this was such a like I think around the time when horror movies like they always got bad reps, right? Like, oh, they make people want to have sex and watch porn, like in those ages. But in the 2000s, it was like, oh, they're just cheap, slashers, or cheap low budget bad films to make a quick buck, right? And I feel like this is this a little bit, but I feel like in the 2000s and the aughts specifically, those were about the movies that were just focused on jump scares, no plot, no character, just loud noise, loud noise. What I would describe this movie is that moment in Anchorman when Steve Carell's character just goes loud noises. That's this movie. It's just constantly, and I don't care. I'm spoiling like mini spoiler stuff, but it's like a horn, a phone, a door, someone speaking. Anytime it's like a meeting at a 6 and they want a jump scare, it turns it to like a 20, and nothing's happening. And they'll do it within like 5 minutes each other, and it's just annoying. It's just cheap. It just makes you, even myself, like I flinch, but it's not in a way where like whether you want to talk about Barbarian or you want to talk about like Hereditary, like there's imagery in those things that stick with you. You go, man, that is just like a haunting image. That doesn't happen here. Maybe there's something near the end that's like a little creepy, and I liked that, but it was just creepy because it was grotesque. I just hated the usage of the jump scare because it happens so much, and it's one of those where it's going to happen. And I was hoping it's going to be one of those smart movies where it's they show a door and it's going to close, and you're like, okay, they're going to do something smart to like maybe subvert our expectations. Nope, they show you something, and then it's just like it's just the lowest common denominator stuff. So I like, and before I throw it over to Taylor for recommendation, I can't recommendate this at all for at least a theater. I don't think a theater experience because I don't think it's worth the time. I can't recommend you paying for it. Maybe on VOD at home, sure, I could see that because if you're bored there, and it's a minor spoiler again, but this movie is just riddled with the main character explaining to 18 different people what the plot of the movie is. And it's just like, because I thought it was an hour and a half. I gotta look how long.
Did not feel like an hour and a half.
It felt like Return of the King.
Every like 2 steps forward, it would just be like literally 2 steps back. Like, what the fuck?
It was just, we were constantly like going back to the very beginning, and it's just like we've established this. There's characters that are just dropped. Oh, I gotta find it because okay, smile. It's 2 hours, so that makes sense. But it felt longer than 2 hours to me. It did not. It moved at a snail's pace, and that's just because of that. It's just reiterating the same thing over and over. Like I think this movie could have easily been an hour and a half. Even under that, there's some things you could have cut. So, yeah, I don't know if it's the worst one because we reviewed Texas Chainsaw Massacre this year, and that was pretty bad. So I'd have to think about it. But even Texas Chainsaw, I guess, is like, well, at least I got that cool bus kill. Like this, I don't really know what I got other than like I had a good time with you guys because it was just funny stuff going on. And it was, and this is where because sometimes I know we talk about this like Jurassic World where like everyone was like, Taylor, it's dead quiet and the pillow comes out and I'm laughing, right? In our theater, there was moments where other people were laughing, but not the uncomfortable. There was uncomfortable laughing because there was like the jump scare, but just times where people were just like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like it did not feel like, "Oh, this is working." It felt like this is kind of cheesy. So I am not super like disappointed with it because I didn't have super high hopes, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad going in. And yeah, I wish I didn't see this movie. I wish I waited till home. And you know what? They did their job though. Good marketing got me in the theater. I will, and actually, don't think it's that well or poorly reviewed either. But Taylor Field, would you recommend this to people? And if you would, who are the people you would recommend it to?
I wouldn't recommend it for theaters.
Wow.
Like it just doesn't make sense to me to go to a theater to see this. Because
Smile has an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's only reviewed by 21 people. So let's see. But still, oh my goodness, what's the average score here?
I went in with low expectations, and I feel like I came out with those expectations still pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a 6.5 average. Okay.
Yeah, it's just something I think you should save your money. I think you really, really should.
Especially you got lots of movies coming up. Me and Taylor are talking about this like October, November. You got Black Panther, you got Black Adam, you got Amsterdam, you got even Babylon. You know, like there's stuff where it's just like, and that's where I know people are gonna. I can hear it already. Like, oh, you like a lot of superhero stuff. Like, what is the difference between this and those? Like, a lot of times you meet the hero, there's a villain that's similar, there's origin, whatever. There's those similar beats, right? And 100%. And I wouldn't find if there were similar beats to this as far as it's pulling from the ring, pulling from Drag Me from Hell, pulling from It Follows. But that's the thing where like It Follows, it has a similar beat to the ring of like, okay, something's being passed on, right? But then there's changes, there's differences, there's characters you latch onto, or there's a twist to it, where this just doesn't feel like there's much of a twist than other than it's people fucking smiling. You know, like that is the crux of the movie. And it's like, you find this scary, you know, and it's just, and I do think they showed too much in the trailer, because there's a couple times where I was just kind of waiting for things and they would happen. So, anything else non-spoilers you want to say? I was gonna say, did Madison enjoy her time?
God, what'd she say she would give it? I think she said she'd give it like a. It wasn't a high rating. Like it was definitely like a passing grade over 50%, but she definitely got scared a few times, and I think she relatively enjoyed herself. But there was some stuff that was just like visually. I know she doesn't like and care for seeing this kind of stuff, and it's like, fuck, this is just like, I know what they're going for, but it's like, god damn, this is something else.
There was one point where I knew Taylor knew Madison wasn't gonna like something, so he like leaned over and like grabbed her leg. It's like, oh, whatever's about to happen, Madison's not a fan of this.
Yeah.
But well, that is our people. If you've also seen it, if you've seen early screens, let us know. But this is the end of the non-spoilers portion, and then, like I said, later on, come back. We'll have the spoilers portion drop on Friday. And yes, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll be boring. And we're back. We're here for the spoilers version now. If you're clicking on this, you go, oh, I haven't seen it yet. Should I see it? There's a non-spoilers version. We just recorded it, released a couple days ago. Or if you don't care, buckle up, because you can just listen to this and I feel like you'll get a better time. So, I don't know where to really begin. So I guess I'm going to... Oh, where, you got a spot to go?
I was gonna say, like, I want to tackle some of these jump scares that really hit me. Like,
sure. Do you remember the one that made Madison freak out that we were talking about non-spoilers?
Yeah. So the thing that made her freak out and she like threw her drink, that was because our main character or actress, she has her headphones on and she's listening to the audio that she recorded of her patient going AWOL.
Yes.
And you know something's coming because she's amping up the audio. In the movie, again, in terms of like its score that it had at times, the movie was relatively very quiet for the most part, which I did think was very cool to have that component in a film. But it was very quiet here. You know something's coming around the corner, and sure enough, this head thing appears right beside her. And Madison fucking freaks and throws her arms up in the air, throws the drink up in the air, and I fucking freak out and jump like, holy shit, like she scared the shit out of me. Not even the movie. And I missed the whole fallout scene of what the woman did to the ghost on screen. Like I didn't
Nothing. She just
it.
like ran. She just ran. Her husband was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And the ghost was gone and stuff. Yeah, you didn't say the full thing where she was listening to the audio, and what happens is it'd be quiet, but you hear like a little murmur of something, and she kept like trying to turn the audio up, and then when she turned the full blast, she like, which didn't make much sense. She had it's just, it feels like a scary movie. She had like, she's watching. I wish everyone was a podcast editor, but she's watching the waveforms, and it's like the talking, and then it's like, you know, one line, but you see like a little audio jump, right? So she keeps turning up, and then she turns it up all the way, and she hears like a little bit. So then she I don't know why, she like maybe turned up more, just like making sure it turns up, but she leans closer into the screen. She has headphones on. It didn't make any, they just did this to set scare. Like it made no sense. Like, what? That doesn't work. You moving closer to your computer does not make you like it work any better. And then what happens is when she gets very close to her computer, she replays it and there's no audio. It's completely gone at this point. And they cut to the ghost is now beside, or the smile ghost, whatever it is, the smile thing is right beside her, and it says like her name. I think that's all it was. And yeah, it was a I guess a good one and stuff. But yeah, I hated these jump scares, as I talk about non-spoilers, because we had stuff like which at one point when we were first getting like scary stuff, like if you're listening to this for the first time and you didn't see the movie, the whole big setup is, okay, there's our character. Fuck, I've already forgotten her name.
It was, oh my god, Rose.
Was it Rose?
Yeah.
Was it actually Rose?
And her sister was Holly.
Wow,
Big
good.
flower fans in this family.
There you go. So Rose, so she is a psychiatrist. She works in like a kind of public rehab or something like that. She's not like a private doctor or anything like that. And it's what you've seen in the trailer. She has a patient. She describes pretty much what the smile sickness is. She kills herself, and from that point on, scary shit starts to happen, and she's rattled. She goes to work, and one of her first things is like the house is really quiet, and yeah, A Train walks in out of nowhere. Didn't know he was gonna be in the movie. They always got him playing a piece of shit. Like he's never gonna be a nice guy, but he walks in. It's like the loudest bro you've ever heard. He's like, bro, and it hits like the music cue, like, brr, and he's bro, and oh, you okay? Or it's like he answers a phone and says bro, and she jumps and stuff like that. The one I found really egregious was she is in a room and they keep doing this thing where sometimes she'll look down a dark hole and you kind of see like the outlet of if just someone smiling, right, or something like that. And then it started like get like loud noise with like with the score, but then it just cut to a car horn, just like and then because it's like her walking across the street and she gets scared by this car horn. And I agree with you with Drag Me to Hell, it's like that, but I guess with Drag Me to Hell it had such like a tongue-in-cheek, like we're doing this on purpose to kind of fuck with you. This just felt like they were, oh, this is really scary stuff. Like I never got that sense of it was fun. It was just like a clutch. There was times where the alarm went off. There was times where a glass was, like anything you could think of that was like an object they would use as like a jump scare. It'd be like, look behind you, and then it's just like the cat runs by and it's like loud music. It's like, why is every like, and there were so many. I'm kind of fine if a movie does like one or two big jump scares, but every 5 minutes in a scary scene, we were getting one. How do you feel? Because you compared Drag Me Hell, which I know you like, but how did it work for you in this time? Which obviously we got a mix of, like, okay, an actual ghost sometimes would pop up, but then I feel like the majority of them were just items in the real world turned up very loud.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I do like Drag Me to Hell, but I feel like them cheapening out because she's in her house and all of a sudden they just blast the alarm. I feel like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
that's like a cheap play. Like I like
The
the
phone goes off, and it's the loudest phone you've ever
yeah.
heard in the world.
Exactly. I don't think that's fair. I like when it's really good kind of scares, like specifically the scene when she's like upset in her car and she just had this horrible conversation with her sister, and you see in the blurriness of the window with your peripheral vision, you can see the sister like open the door. You can't see like her shoulders up, but you see the sister and she's got her arms crossed and she's walking towards towards the car. She
They
knocks
blur her
on the
face out
yeah, they blur
when
her
she's
face
walking
out,
up, yeah.
and she knocks on the window, and it's so fucking subtle. Her head just fucking ragdolls, like droops down, and fuck. Like I know that's in the trailer, and I wish
Yeah.
they didn't put that in the trailer, but
I
I
really wish,
thankfully
yeah.
I forgot about this part, and it just fucking got me. I was like, holy fuck, that was actually one of the highlights of the movie because it was just so cinematically intense. But that's a jump scare I like.
Yes, and even then, I feel like that's not. It's not. I think I could be wrong, but I feel like maybe there was a lot of music, but it didn't feel like the other objects where it felt more natural because you're jumping because it's just something more unsettling. I remembered it, so I'm happy for you. You didn't remember it because I couldn't forget when I saw that trailer. That head just turned. I'm like, this is such a fun, creative way to do it. There's no rules in this world in that sense, in like a good way. So like, have some fun. I almost feel like they didn't do that enough. I wish like that shot with the head turning around at the window. I wish they did some other cool smile things, you know. I guess I kind of did that with Carl, which we're gonna talk about, of like some, oh, that fucking scene. I got so much to say about that, but anyway, so yeah, I wish they didn't show that, and that's where I want to talk about the main character, where okay, so she has this trauma that happens, right, and that's what they're trying to go for. They're trying to almost say like this thing, I don't know for sure, I felt like they're trying to say that this thing latches onto people with trauma or unresolved trauma, but really the rules are like, if anyone sees someone kill themselves, it's gonna pass on to them. You know, like it didn't really say, like, I get what they're trying to say, like she had a weak mind, and what the movie actually starts with like a flashback of her mom, and they show that she's clearly an addict of multiple drugs and stuff like that, and you get into a way that she saw her mom die, and we're gonna get into that later more on that. But so that happens, she sees a patient die, and from there on, it's like she's seen a bunch of stuff, and the whole setup is like what you've seen in the trailers, where people just start smiling, doing weird shit, you know, stuff like that, but no one else sees it. The fucking birthday party's coming up, but all these things are happening, and she's wondering if at first, of course, like anybody else, where it is just, hey, I went through a trauma, I'm having some troubles, you know, just seeing some stuff, but I'll get over it. I'm gonna skip the birthday scene because I have a lot to do with this, but my point is, so eventually she starts to have what every main character does, where she starts to figure out the mystery, because she goes from, they set up like, oh, this patient you had, she saw someone kill herself, and she starts to put two and two of, well, that teacher she saw kill himself, he saw someone, that teacher saw a woman kill herself at a conference, that woman saw someone kill themselves at a gas station. So there's this huge line, and eventually there's this cop character, which, again, some weird storylines in here, but there's this cop character that's her ex and stuff like that, which we pick up on, because when they go to interview her, she waves. And I will say this, they have this cop that's with him, his partner, like, was she a head case? Oh, she's totally fucking crazy. The humor, I think I heard you giggle a couple times, so maybe it worked for you. The humor in this movie did not work for me at all. Any of these characters for me. I don't know if it was the acting, the writing, but I did not. Was there some genuine laughs for you in this movie?
No, it just felt like poor laughing. I was chuckling at other things like decision making and stuff because it
Yeah.
just kind of didn't make sense. But yeah, the cop just when she first saw the girl kill herself, and then the two cops were there, like they were just so like, this is such a over the top, flamboyant, stereotypical cop
Yeah.
character, and the one cop is like, "Was she a fucking nutcase?" Like, just so not selling it at
They're like
all.
Rob
like,
Zombie cops, like in from Halloween, where it's like
Mhm.
a Rob Zombie when he'd go over the top, and it feels like that. Where even then, like I get it that she's a doctor, but there feels like there's like no care for this woman. Just saw like another woman like kill herself, and she's clearly shaken up about it. And that's where I think the actress does a good job. She does always look like she's shaken up about it. She looks like she's a fucking mess. So I think she
Yeah.
did a good job, and I'd like to see her in something else. And I swear I've seen her in something, so I'm gonna have to look. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about some of these actual like big events that happen. But the point is, she will tell her fiance, she'll tell her ex-cop husband, she will tell the woman of a victim, she'll tell her sister, and every time she tells this story, she does it in the worst ways possible. The worst ways. Like with Trevor, her husband, or soon to be husband, she just pretty much like tells it like she's a ghost and she's fucking crazy and stuff like that. She never even like hints at anything to do with the suicide chain. So that's one. Then and there's just times where it's not the actress's fault. She'll be like, I'm not fucking crazy. That's just like, okay, I get it. You've been through trauma, but like if you know people are calling you crazy and you don't actually feel like you're crazy, just tone it down a bit. So that's something. I'm sure we'll return to Trevor, because I did actually think he was cheating on her, but he wasn't. They just set him up so he wouldn't be home. Because at one moment where he's like, oh, I won't be back for a while, and they're introducing like the ex-cop, I'm like, oh, this is how they get together. But no, I guess they just, the husband storyline never gets resolved really. He thinks she's crazy. He brings a psychiatrist in, like her therapist, to come and talk to her. They have a fight, and you never see the husband character again. He's just A-Train's gone. He's off to film Boys season 4, I guess. So that was the husband of like, she kind of tells the ghost story, okay? Doesn't tell suicide chain. With the cop, she just goes over to his house saying she needs a favor and just wants a police report of the last two victims. And that kind of leads to, or actually just one guy. And that leads to the chain of like, oh, this person killed this person. They want, it's just a fucking chain of people seeing other people kill each other when I refer to the chain. But she doesn't reveal like the two people that she's dealt with are also part of that chain. So again, this cop who's clearly like, he's not like believing there's a ghost, but he's like open to it. He's helping her out. She's like, I just gotta go. She doesn't tell her sister. There's something bad that happened with the sister. We're gonna get there. This actually, let's save the sister because we'll do that together. She goes to, so like I said, the chain is she saw someone kill herself. That woman who needed help saw her teacher kill himself. She goes to that wife, the teacher's wife, and it's very strange because she says she's a reporter, but even then it feels like that wife is very open. She's like saying things that people might not believe, and like she shows her this room of fucking drawings, which is fucking creepy. I know the wife's like, I just can't take myself to take this all down. It's like, get someone else to take this shit down, please. It's just like a bunch of drawings of people smiling. It's fucking crazy. But then like our character Rose says something to kind of give away, okay, she's not a reporter. So the wife feels a little lied upon. But Rose at never point says, hey, I'm seeing this, and guess what? The person that saw, like, your husband, like, he killed himself, and then, because the wife even says, oh, ever since he saw that person kill themselves, he's never been the same. Why did they not follow up with, oh, he killed himself in front of someone, And then she killed herself in front of me. Like, she just, like, there's a way you could just get the conversation going. And the wife just turns and she's like, get the fuck out of my house. She gets so mad. But she's like, just say this. She'll say everything that's important. And then, and I'll set this up, then I'll get your opinion on this stuff. But so they set up that she's not fit for work. She takes a week off, paid. Great. And this one's just like minor stuff, right? Paid. There was a whole thing they introduced this sister character. She couldn't go to her nephew's birthday. She can now because she's not working. She gets him a train set. That's exactly what her sister says. My son loves trains. Getting that. Great. She goes there. Earlier in the movie, this couple has a cat named Mustache. This cat is gone. You know, the second the cat's gone, the cat is dead. So what happens is this kid is at the birthday. He's opening up his presents. He gets a box. You had to know the cat was in there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
okay.
as soon as the cat was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As soon as the cat was gone, I thought, okay, something's super suspicious here. And again, I love my cats to death. I love them so much. And to see this kind of stuff in movies, it just makes me cringe. I will say, now, when he pulled the cat out, was it CGI'd? It looked like something was off.
It
like
might have been a mix
a
of CGI and it might have been a prop that's been CGI upon, you know, stuff like that. So
okay. Yeah, this is scene, poor kid, and yeah, she totally loses her shit because she's like, I didn't do this. She's freaking out. Everyone's like, what the fuck's wrong with her? And I shouldn't laugh because, like, when he opens up the box and he's like looking at it and he knows what it is, and the parents around him know what it is, the camera pans to Rose and she's nodding and smiling. And
she like thinks the kid's enamored because he got it like a tray. And she's like, man, he loves my gifts so much. Like, she's in awe of this. And I get it. I don't get it because so they show, yes, kid opens the box like Taylor says, cat's in there. You kind of knew. I even heard people behind me, which sound like the most generic, just kind of go to some movies before I think a cat's in there. Like, everyone figured out what was going to happen. If they want to make that a shock, that scene should have been quicker. They let it hang for too long to know it was a cat. Like, he should have just been ripping through presents, and they're trying to build tension, but it didn't work because there's no tension. We know this cat's in this box, and so it's one of the most uncomfortable scenes I've seen in my life. She, like Taylor said, she runs over, picks up this cat, and is not even really concerned about her sister and husband, not really the kid. And I get it, her cat is dead, and that's I get pets and everything, that's fine. But she takes this cat and she is crying. She is yelling. Tommy Wiseau yelling, not even bad act, just like, oh my god. She's like, what the, like, what happened? No, what happened? She didn't really like even check on the kid, which again, I get it's her kid, but like, this kid just went through some traumatic on his birthday, and she's in the middle of the room and she's just yelling, and it's just like ugly crying, and I was like, what's happening now? And then she looks over to her left, and there's one of the people from the birthday, and it's the smile person. So she's just smiling, right? And the character Rose, she's like, fuck you! She just starts yelling, fuck you! And it's like, again, I get what they're trying to go for, but I think the way they shot the scene or choreographed it, it was just coming off as funny to me. And she's like looking around the room like, you have to see this, right? You have to see this. She turns around, looks, and of course it's just like a zoom in. The woman's face is there smiling right on her. Loud noise. Then Rose with her dead cat trips, falls backward into a glass table. Oh. Now, where as an editor, I would have said, let's end the scene right here, director. Let's end it right here. What happens? Rose sits up with her dead cat. She has glass in her. She's like, ah! She yells. And I'm like, no, why is this scene still going? There's so many times for the scene. Should have just been like, you didn't even need the smile person there. The cat was enough. But when she sat up, covered in blood, and started to just yell, I was like, what are we doing here, boss? Like, just, it was too much. And I was laughing in this scene that was supposed to be traumatic and really scary and whatnot. No, it was just, I don't know. It took me on a roller coaster. But either way, so at that point, they take her to the hospital. The husband and the sister are starting to talk, so they're putting two together. Like, hey, something's wrong with her. Her boss is thinking something wrong with her. All this stuff, right? And we get to the point where people don't really believe in her, like every horror story. And she goes back. This is the last time she tries to tell so. She goes back to her sister because for some reason, her and her sister do not have a good relationship. In the beginning of this movie, even before things are like really, really bad with like seeing the smile go, stuff like that. Again, arguments about the house house their parents own, stuff like they just feel like they don't have much relationship. So when the therapist doesn't believe her and her ex, like her fiance doesn't believe her, she's deciding to go to her sister, and I get it because it's your sister, so fine. And she's just like, I need to talk to you. That was like, oh, this is a bad day. I need to talk to my sister. She comes out. She's like, what is it? All she does is open up a file with dozens of police photos.
Horrible pitch.
Yeah, just people dead. And she's like, look at this. She doesn't even preference, like, listen, this might sound nuts, but I would find a chain. And I get it as far as like the whole ghosting, the smile thing. But if Taylor, that's what cryptic clues were. But Taylor came in with this mystery, and it was like, hey, 19 people have watched someone suicide, and then they go to suicide, and it is a chain, and you can literally link it from me to this person in a whole nother city. I would even listen to be like, hey, this is fucking weird. I don't know if I believe you about this ghost thing, but something is up. What does she lead with? Look at the pictures of these dead bodies. There's no context for the sister. What is she supposed to think? So that's why I hate that every time they make our characters seem smart, but when there's the chance that she could try to explain it or seem like a normal person or get people on board or just try to hear her out, she just jumps to the like full 10 out of 10 of, oh, we got to make her look fucking crazy. And that's what I hated at every turn. It just felt like there was no substance to these moments with other characters.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I feel like every situation she was in to share with these characters, she just did it so poorly, and it really bothered me because I feel like you could start at square one and you could properly explain it. Like, I get though that the tribulation too is that she is suffering from a lot of like mental health issues as well, and that's causing this rift. Like when her fiance is trying to get out of the car and she like slams the door on him and he's like, I'm sorry. Like I think again she really
says
did
sorry
a
like
good
15
job.
times in that scene.
Yeah, but again, like I don't know anyone that is going through significant mental trauma, and I know I'm not myself, but I think that she did a great job at representing and using this movie, I guess, as a reflection of what it can be like when someone's going through these things, and just the pain of feeling alone, not being able to explain it to people very well, and just dealing with these I guess the repercussions of your actions, trying to get help and everything like that, and feeling isolated and alone. So I think that they tackled that pretty good. One thing though, too, just on that scene of the sister, because yeah, when she handed the photos, I chuckled at that. So this is not how you open up the conversation.
No, that is the opener. That is her first saying to the sister. Look at these.
I thought it was just so random because when she got pissed and went in her car and was like freaking out, the camera slow pans into the house, and the little boy who got the cat gift is just staring at her like sweating and shocked. I'm like, okay, what are they setting up here? Like, is something gonna happen? And nothing follows up with that story.
It's the last time you see the kid.
It's the last time you see the kid. He's off going to the boys with A-Train.
Yeah, because what Taylor mentions, that's the moment where it's the head flip in from the trailers where the mom goes there, but when they cut away or they pull back, Rose is screaming at nothing. Like, we see that there's nothing actually there, and yeah, it's just this boy. And I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, is this gonna be a twist that somehow this thing's gonna jump to this kid now or something like that? Mm-hmm. But no, it's just this showing that, like, hey, this kid we traumatized, he's even more traumatized because he's just seeing his aunt in the car go fucking insane, like lose every bodily fluid, just like it's crazy. So you have that, and then there's this other, before we get to the ending and stuff like that, there's this character they introduced named Carl, and so he's the first one, and I think he's kind of like a red herring because he's just whispering to himself over and over again about people are gonna die, my mom's gonna die, I'm gonna die, all this stuff, right? She helps him out one time. Later on, she gets him a raw deal where the first time she sees like the smile ghost like takes over Carl's body, and then it's like smiling, and then eventually the ghost starts to yell like, "Oh, you're gonna die, you're gonna fucking die," all this stuff, and then she's like, "It's a 5'11", 5'11".
Poor Carl.
Yeah, so the security, and I guess like a 5'11" or whatever she said means like they're gonna hurt themselves. Security run over and tackle Carl, but when you cut to Carl, he was actually just laying down like on his bed. But so like in her mind, Carl was supposed to attack him, but this poor guy was just like laying down on his bed, just I don't know, trying to rest, and then security just whipping down the fucking ground and like sedate him and stuff, and that's what starts the break because they're like, he didn't really need that, like he didn't seem aggressive and stuff like that, but they're like, well, you need some time. So what they start to figure out is at one point they go to see Turk from Netflix. He's in Daredevil, all those shows, he's a criminal. One guy broke out of the chain, and the chain started again. And what was this? He killed somebody. And I'm not gonna get into it slowly. They just set up that if you, instead of you killing yourself, if you kill someone with another person around, you can pass it on to them. This smile ghost just needs to see some trauma, right? But that's how he got out of it. He has to do prison time, and they set up like he's a well-established like banker, like it's someone who's uncharacteristic. He was a good person. It made no sense why he murdered him. Now he's listed as like a crazy person. They go to talk to him. What a fucking wild scene when he finds out she has the smile ghost. He just like loses his mind. Like it was just like maybe a little over the top, but they set that up like, okay, this is what you have to do. I like that he's like, get the cop to leave the fucking room. Like, not like she's gonna go tell the cop right away. I didn't really need that, but anyway, so they set up, yeah, okay, she needs to kill someone, and I don't know why, and maybe this is maybe who knows if I get in the situation some ghost follows me or something, but not until like I feel like the last 10 minutes of this movie, and even then she never does it. She just never has the epiphany of like, what if I just kill myself with no one around? Like, what if I just stop this? And she never does. She never tries it. They do like some fake out at the end, which I did not believe, but either way, so she's figured out that what was the last before that, her therapist, in a scene that they pretty much just want to rip off Aliens, where there's I did like this scene where the therapist comes to see her, knocks at the door, they talk, she gets a phone call, she picks it up, and it's her therapist, and she looks over, it's the smile ghost and stuff, and it's just so funny because it gets mad, saying, "You're coming soon, you're gonna die." So it walks up to her, backs her up against the wall like Ripley, and she has a smile, and like there's just like saliva coming down from this actress's mouth. But then it just cut away, so you don't really know what happens. Right? I was trying to get to Carl. So after all this, she's had this epiphany of, well, I have to kill someone, and this scene for me was fucking wild. So she decides she's gonna go to the hospital and kill Carl and pass it on to someone else. Now, this is revealed to be a dream sequence, but the fact that she's is still kind of thinking that is weird. And this moment, and I get it gets referred back to later, I knew something was up because she gets Carl in the corner, she's just stabbing him, right? And they switch over to Cal Penn. He's like, Rose, no, Rose, what are you doing? It's like, why aren't you stopping her from killing a patient? They cut back to Cal Penn, and then he's just ripping his face off.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's like, what is going on here? What's happening? And this is a jump scare that got Taylor, where she wakes up, right? Real Cal Penn is there. Oh, what's going on? You okay? He sees in her passenger seat there is a knife. So either she's gonna hurt herself or someone. He's like, you shouldn't leave. You shouldn't leave. And she's like, fine. She reaches down to start car. She looks back up. It's Carl with a bloody mouth staring right at the camera. Taylor, he's like, oh, he jumped.
I fist pumped the air. That fucking got me so good.
And then it turns back to Cal Penn and drives away and everything like that. But yeah, what did you feel about, like, were you surprised that never came out? We're going to obviously talk about the third act, like the ending here, but I thought at least that point where she was going to decide to kill herself, but I knew it wasn't going to happen because I knew they were going to try and have to save this for a sequel, which they do. They set up for, we could do more of this, but it felt strange, like she never thought, like her idea was, she starts to drive to this old parent's house, and I thought, she's going to go there to kill herself. Her idea is, no, I'm just going to confront this thing and defeat it and stuff like that, which those rules I don't think make much sense. But what did you take from kind of the unraveling of the mystery of what you have to do to get rid of the smile monster?
Well, yeah, like I was confused because, again, I just couldn't follow really what she was going to do because she was so set on killing someone to break this curse. But again, she couldn't go through with that. And I feel like we wasted time by her experiencing these different, I guess, paths or different like scenarios. But that was, I guess, maybe the demon playing with her or something like that. But I digress. So we were getting to her now thinking, okay, I need to be alone. That's how it's gonna, I'll solve this and everything like that. But then I thought, okay, well, she's alone, but I thought she would go much more like severe because it just didn't seem to make sense hiding out in this cabin. Someone's eventually gonna find you. I mean, this thing, how she died, this thing probably would have possessed her and just had her stand like that until someone came for who knows how long. Like it just, I don't think her plan was very successful and sound in how she was thinking it. So.
And so she goes to this house, and I feel like you knew, because they keep doing this thing where she's driving to the cops, and I knew this like midpoint already. I knew what was going to happen is because every time she's around, like she's finding this stuff out, the cop is around. I just knew, okay, she's going to try to do this thing, and the cop's going to see it. Did you feel that way pretty early on too?
Well, Early on, no, because I was just trying to really figure this out. I thought, okay, I feel like the husband is going to, or the fiance is going to get it because she's going to kill the psychiatrist
Oh
that's
my
interviewing
god.
her. And I thought, okay, no, they're not doing that. They're changing it to where she's going to kill Carl, and now her other guy friend or her associate's going to get it. And then they jumped to this, and I thought, okay, at this point, then when Joel was calling her and she was going off saying, I got to be alone, then I thought, okay, it's most likely going to be him seeing what happens and taking the curse. And I don't like that. I don't like that we got to such a predictable point throughout this film.
Yeah, so what they set up is she's like Taylor said, is she's driving to this cat, what, not cabin, it's a house where her mom died. We get some big revelations here where
Mm-hmm.
it shows that she actually, I won't say killed her mom, but she pulled the Batman. I don't have to, like Batman Begins, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. Because we get that full scene. Her mom just said, can you please call the police? I need help. And she runs away. She does say she was scared, and she was a young kid. I got, but I was like, wow, they just had her pretty much just kill her mom. All right. And then she has this like heart to heart with her mom, and you know it's the smile ghost. It's like they try to do this where it's like, oh, she's gone back, she's speaking to a ghost, but it's like, you know, this is just something, and she knows it's not her real mom, but it's like a
Mm-hmm.
shock when it is. And then this thing turns into like a 10-foot tall Michael Jackson with a massive smile. And like it is and it's funny because I feel like they must have been, I can't say which movie, but I feel like they must have been mad. There was a recent horror movie the past 2 months that came out that I feel like had a monster that's very similar to this, and they must have been pissed when they saw that. Like, damn it, this came out first and stuff. But it gets tall and it runs in this thing. And what I hated was, like I said, I knew midway when we got this cop that's what's gonna happen. Right, what happened was when she's driving there, the cop keeps saying like, "Where are you? Where are you?" So you know, as a cop, he's gonna track the phone and fucking find her and see this thing go down, right? But they try and do one big fake out that I don't think anyone bought. But this thing is, like I said, massive Michael Jackson looking monster chasing after in the shape of her mother, has a big smile. They kind of try and do this Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street ending where, you know, she says, "Oh, why did you come after me?" And then the smile ghost says, "Well, it's because your mind's so weak and it's so fun." And it kicks down the door, it chases her, throws her down on the floor and is choking her. And she's like, you can't escape me because I'm in your mind." And then Rose's like, "Well, it is my mind, so you can't escape me either." She like takes the fire, throws it on the smile, goes, burns it. There's like a very unnecessary, very long burning scene of like, okay, why is this going on for so long? And then they like do this fake out ending where she's all like happy, she's driving back, she drives to the cop's place. We get this fucking narrative of like the reason we broke up is because I have too many walls and I put them up while you got too close. Like, oh my, because I just know it's not him, so I'm just wasting time for 5 minutes of this monologue, and I get what they're going for. It was fine. I just don't think the movie was that strong. While she's talking, this motherfucker, of course, he starts to smile, and what do they reveal? She never got out of this fucking house. Like, she's just like, it was all like a dream. This big thing's still alive. So, like, what do you take from? They literally do this whole thing of she overpowers her because it's much like the ending of Malignant, where, but the difference is Malignant, she actually like overpowers Gabriel, and like, no, it's my mind. Like, I can do whatever I want. You're in prison. That's done. With this, she does that, but then the smile goes like, nah, I was just fucking like, she did this whole moment, this whole hero thing of, hey, I can control you, but really she couldn't. That was nothing. It was just a waste of time, in my opinion, because what was the point of that scene then?
Yeah, again, I just doing all of those scenes again and again. This is a reoccurring thing throughout the film, and I felt like, okay, it's just on repeat. I felt like we're wasting time, and this is a really dragged it on. Like you mentioned too, the mom appearing in that scene was just, I felt like it was useless, but at the same time, I feel like the overall kind of picture they were going for and setting was this house is her mind and this is her trauma that she's trying to deal with. And her burning the house down was her relinquishing her trauma. But then it's all for shit because the house didn't get burned down. She didn't do anything in her mind and she was played.
No.
She was played so hard. And then we got this disturbing possession scene that occurred. But
I did like that. I thought the imagery of that, because what they do is, so they, and this is where like I kind of, I get it in retrospect now because so this thing, the mother-looking smile, goes rips her face off, right? And I like the visual where it's like it's a bunch of smiles within a smile, and it kind of alludes to, like Cal Penn's character ripping his face off earlier. So like, okay, you're kind of tying it together very loosely. It's like the one thing in this movie to me that's done well. So it's like okay, and then they have this moment where they literally show the smile goes like opens up Rose's mouth very wide, and then just puts its head like is literally crawling in its body.
Mm.
So I liked that. That was like the one image where, like, okay, that could stick with me. That was cool. I liked the design of the smile monster, whatever it may be. But I was just mad because the whole time the cop's trying to kick down the door. And of course, like he finds fucking Rose, which I just laughed because he's looking around. He shines a light. Rose was standing there with a thing of fucking gasoline. He's not, and again, like these people don't do anything. He doesn't run over to try, like, I get it because he knows the story, but at the same point, when Rose turns around, she has a smile and she starts to light the fucking, match. Why the fuck isn't the dude coming over there trying to knock it out of her hand? Like, they do nothing. It's just the second they see this, they just give up. And even then, run out of there. Don't let yourself see it. You know the story and stuff like
Well,
that.
that's where I was thinking maybe he was kind of subject to like that he couldn't move at all.
Yeah, and you're right. That's what they're going for, and they just want that. Well, they want a sequel. Is what they really want. They just want that shot of him looking, and then you see her going up in flames in his eyes. But it just feels like very lame B-rate horror movie stuff, and that's at the ending. Yeah, she killed herself, and it's moved on to the cop, and then that's it right there. And I'm sure he'll spread in the future. But was there anything of the ending you wanted to talk about, or anything in general that I may have missed?
I found that this demon thing was very much like Pennywise from It Chapter
True,
2
yeah.
and the old lady that kind of morphed into this thing. And it made me on edge at first, but then when I really saw it when she woke up from her dream sequence, it was back in the house and just its facial expression that really got me. And when I peeled the face off, very much reminded me of like Pennywise, even when you could see all the multiple jaws and
Yes.
faces that it's claimed. Yeah, I don't have too much to really add, but it was just unfortunate because I'm with you. I think the cop could have done a lot more. He could have broken that chain. He knew clearly about the curse that she explained to him. He knew everything like this. So it's too bad that he didn't get out of there or do something different to break the chain. But yeah.
Yeah, things just happen because they need them to, and this characters just act like your stereotypical horror stuff, and because the whole movie is like, oh, we're gonna get you out of this. This is not gonna be you, but it's like you don't have any solution there, bud. It's just I'm not gonna let that happen. And yeah, that smile. It's a woman that gets infected by a ghost, tells a bunch of people about it, sees scary stuff, loud jump scares, and at least like I feel like the finale has like some kind of fun to it, the monster and the chase. But even then, it just doesn't fully live up. Because when she went to the garage, I thought right away she was gonna grab a gas can and just start going to town. Like I'm gonna end this thing. But no, she just grabs a lamp. And even then, like obviously we saw eventually, okay, the thing could possess you, but we didn't know that at this point the thing just would walk up to her and disappear. So when she was sitting in a lawn chair with her light and she like hears something, she has to go investigate. I was just like, no, I'm sitting in this lawn chair. You come to me. Like you're the one
Yeah.
that wants me. Like it was really strange as far as it felt like, yeah, I'm gonna take on this monster, but it always just felt like the monster always had the upper hand until that mind thing, but it didn't really matter because it was very like 1408 type of ending where it's just like, oh no, you're still here. Okay, so
Yeah.
Taylor, what would you rate this?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what Madison asked me when we left. And what I told her was I'd still pass it. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10, but that's not like great. Like I'm giving it that because I did enjoy getting freaked out and the jump scares and all that jazz, but I didn't like the other jump scares they were trying to toss on you. I didn't like how the story went. I mean, I don't watch The Ring religiously, but on the off chance that I do watch it, I enjoy it for what it is, knowing what it is, and then I really do enjoy Drag Me to Hell because that's just one heck of a quirky movie and it's an interesting kind of story. But then when you combine those two together to get this, it just didn't really work for me. I wasn't really driving into it. So, yeah, I don't think, like I said in the non spoilers, you don't have to go see this in theaters. There's no rush behind it. So, save your money, wait for it to drop on VOD, because this is gonna go into the halls of like with the Ouija or the
Yeah, Ouija,
Ouija
that's another
movies,
one. Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, like just wait. That's all I can say. And
My
yeah,
worry is I don't know what the budget is on this thing, but I feel like um I'm looking at it right now. I feel like with enough, it can make enough money from people because we're going the holiday season, Halloween. Like enough youngins would go and see this and stuff, and I feel like there's always a chance. So
hmm
let's see. It doesn't give a budget yet, so I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and listen. I don't know what it was, but whatever score I gave Texas Chainsaw Massacre, same score. I don't know if that was a 1 out of 2. I don't know if that was 2 out of 2. Because like, I don't think I think one. I'm not sure because maybe Texas I may still put it at low because I still think there. I don't know. Like I said, like I can't even give it for like. There's one small okay. It has one scene of like the possession at the end where I'm like, oh, that's cool, but that's just like one shot of like, okay, that's something. I think the actress does do a good job with the performance wise, but there's just like it's just her, and it's not even so good where it raises up to be like, oh, I gotta watch this again. I think it's just she does. There's not anything completely terrible, but yeah, I just there's not much to this. It's definitely one of my least favorite films we've reviewed. We had a fun review, thankfully, but
hmm
this is. I don't know if we'll do worse movies for Golden Geeks because I feel like when we do those, just not enough. I've seen the same ones to talk about it, but this would be like a candidate for me. So if it's not one of the year, it's two. Like it's there. I did not enjoy this. I think for me, it's more just because it's lazy, not so much because it's so overly bad. I think I've seen almost bad movies, but it just it just feels like this is a movie that people got budget and paid for. It's like this is the best you could do, you know? So I don't know, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we will. Well, I don't. We will, I won't be back for Smile 2 if there is a Smile 2, but we'll be
I
back.
don't. I think they do a prequel. To be honest, I think that's what they would kind of
I could see
tackle.
that. Yeah. Either way, whatever Smile iteration is, I'll not be back for. So I hope you enjoy this review. Let us know what you thought about it, and I promise, and hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Bye bye.
See ya.